are discussing how do you manage and overcome things like stress, overwork, and burnout. And to help me discuss this, I have a very special guest. He is a business and a life coach. And welcome to the show, Mr. Lawson. How are you doing?
Okay, thank you very much, Daniel, and I'm very happy to join you in this discussion of managing stress, anxiety, and burnout in the workplace.
Before even we begin, I would want us just to define these things. What is stress? What is anxiety? What is burnout? But the first question is, do we really have an issue in the workplace where people are suffering from stress, anxiety, and burnout?
Worldwide,
Yes.
stress, anxiety, and burnout is a very big issue
Mhm.
from the point of view that you understand that we are just coming out of COVID. We've got the downturn in the economy, and all this bringing a lot of stress and anxiety to people, leaders, and their teams in the workplace.
Okay. So the fact that we have these issues, how would we define them? What would we say? What is stress? Or is the normal day-to-day conversation someone saying, "Oh, I'm really stressed out"? What is this anxiety, and how do we how are you able to define these terms?
Just unpacking what is stress, anxiety, and burnout.
Yes.
Actually, stress is very good for us. It is a natural phenomenon for you to be able to close other areas and be able to focus and pay attention to only one thing. So stress is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Stress is a bad thing when it is over an extended time. If you are alert for a very long time, then there are other functions within your body, within your emotions, within your mental faculties that would be shut off. And if they are shut off for a very long time, it causes danger. The same to do with anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Anxiety is also very good in giving you the motivation to focus on something and finish it off.
Mm-hmm.
So it is good on that aspect. But again, when it is impacting on your productivity, when it is taking over your work, then it becomes a little bit of a problem. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Burnout, on the other hand, is chronic stress that has been poorly managed. And actually, the World Health Organization
Mm-hmm.
has defined stress as a disorder. So it is something that all the organizations are dealing with. And there is actually a pandemic across the world in the workplaces on these three aspects: stress, anxiety, and burnout.
Okay. Okay. So, what would be the best way for someone to be able to manage these things in the workplace, the stress, the anxiety, and burnout? What would the procedure be to managing them?
I think I think one when we talk about stress, anxiety, and burnout in the
Mhm.
workplace, it's talking about how toxic is the workplace. For example, if we are looking at the promotions, are they on merit? Do we have policies and procedures to curb gossip within the organizations? Is the pay right? Because again, if you are not paid uh, uh, properly, then you get stress in other parts of your life.
Yeah.
So we are dealing with toxic within the workplace and how to manage it. Now, what we are going to do first to manage the stress and anxiety within organization is to
Mm-hmm.
first of all get to the organization, have policies and procedures in place, and
Mm-hmm.
then would be able to go in and say individually, this is
Mm-hmm.
how we manage the stress, anxiety, and burnout at individual level. And we
Okay.
can discuss that one in more elaborate a few minutes after.
Okay, so let's go maybe at an individual level.
Yes.
And I'll also come to some of the questions I've seen already being posted here. Someone is asking when when any person become jobless, how do they minimize the stress? Yeah, we will come to that. But the question here is how what are some of the symptoms or signs someone can be able to identify in themselves to know that, hey, actually, I think I'm suffering from stress, or I think I'm having anxiety or burnout? What are some of the indicators that someone can look out for?
So when you are having stress within your body, it is
Hmm.
about uh, emotions. It is
Hmm.
about your physical self. It is about your mental abilities.
Hmm.
So in stress, you will be moody. You will be irritable, very irritable. You will feel loneliness. You feel dizzy. You'll be having anxious thoughts. You also
Hmm.
be feeling unhappy. Now, when you're feeling the anxiety, you feel less stress. You've got tension. You will be sweating. Sometimes, if it is uh, chronic anxiety, you may be having panic attacks.
Hmm.
For burnout, you will be lethargic. Things that you found pleasurable doing,
Hmm.
you become lethargic. You are critical even for your organization. If you are working in an organization, you are so critical of the organization. You are lethargic. You are disengaged, and all these kind of things.
Ah, okay, okay. So those would be some of the symptoms to show us maybe we are having such issues. How would you respond to this gentleman, Khan, who said, yeah, sometimes when someone loses a job, they start getting stressed up and yeah, how would they minimize the stress?
I think when we are managing stress at individual level,
Mm-hmm.
we will be looking like, for example, we've got a support group,
Mm-hmm.
somebody you can talk to about what you're feeling, what you are going through, and also getting ideas on how to, for example, get a job. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
you will you will also be looking at being mindful, be able to have exercises like walking, just being able to self love, to love yourself more in whatever you are going through.
Okay. And there's something interesting here. You have talked about having someone to talk to who would be very important. I think this just comes in as a comment from one of our followers.
Yes.
Lillian, she says, I underwent chronic stress after the burial of my daughter, 17 years of age, and I had no one to talk to me. Sad indeed. I really just empathize with her. And I think, as you said, yeah, having someone to talk to would be very important, right?
Yes, yes, certainly.
So, how do we manage anxiety, burnout, and especially with the use of maybe a therapist or a coach? How do they come into play to help us manage that?
I think let's first of all unpack some of the things that even before you get to go to a therapist, there are
Hmm.
things that you can do for yourself and
Hmm.
be able to manage the stress, anxiety, and burnout without necessarily either going to see a doctor and getting that medication for stress, or alternatively going to the therapist.
Hmm.
First of all, when you are having situations of stress, anxiety, or burnout,
Hmm.
you will become sleep deprived, so you don't sleep properly. So again, there you must undertake sleep hygiene. The way
Hmm.
you try to sleep at the best times, having say 7 hours of sleep. you sleep at 10, you wake up at 6, and all these kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Then we say that we are what we eat. What you eat will help you in managing stress, anxiety, and burnout. So,
Mm-hmm.
having a balanced diet is very important. Avoiding saturated oils,
Mm-hmm.
sugary foods, and all these fast foods. Being able to know that you are taking enough of the proteins, you are not taking a lot of jamachoma and all these kind of things. So
Mm-hmm.
we normally say that you are what you eat.
Mm-hmm.
So also having work-life balance. You are not always overloaded with work, because that means that you won't sleep properly, you won't
Mm-hmm.
eat properly, because at some point in time you can't be able to cook or have food. You need to also be mindful. Mindful means that you are always positive. You are positive in your thinking. uh,
Mm-hmm.
you practice forgiveness. When somebody steps on your toe in the bus or in the matatu, you don't lash at them. You forgive them. You
Mm-hmm.
have what we call a gratitude journal. A gratitude journal helps you in knowing that at the end of the day, I will write 5 positive things that are good during the day. So your mind is looking for those good opportunities, so
Yeah.
that you can have something to write in your journal. In your journal, you are also writing anything that happened to you during the day and your response would need to be improved. That
Yeah.
means that you will also be avoiding situations where you will be saying to yourself in the evening or in the morning that I needed to improve this. So you'll be avoiding situations where you are not very good in terms of your responses to other things that are coming up to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I really like that. Is quite good. The idea of sleep. Yeah.
Mm,
Sometimes people talk about quality of sleep versus the quantity. Is it amount of hours, or is it how the quality of sleep going to deep sleep? Maybe you can comment something on that. I like also the fact of eating well. You are what you eat. I remember
mm,
there's a time back I had a conversation with one of my colleagues, and number one, it was a Monday, and the so-called Monday blues, and they're
mm,
like, I'm really feeling demotivated. I just wish this day can come to an end so that I can go and sleep. I don't feel like doing anything. And of
mm,
course, just checking out, and he asked me, "Why are you so energetic? How comes you're so energetic? You're all over the place." And I was
mm,
like, "It depends. I don't know where you are over the weekend, but probably you overindulged and also did a lot of fast food. And
mm,
of course, especially during the weekend, you feel like you need to relax, yes, but that kind of what you put in your mouth actually affects who you are even the next day. And
mm,
I really like that. And the last thing when you talk about gratitude and actually journaling, I started this practice, I think a while back, almost 2 or 3 years ago, and it has been life changing, whereby every day I try to, you can do this in the morning or in the evening, but I do it in the morning.
mm,
I write 3 things that I'm grateful for that happened in the last 24 hours. As in,
mm,
and that forces me to really think through my day and be very like, do you want to tell me nothing good has happened? And there might be some very simple things like I was able to finish my task that I had set to do yesterday. That would be a
mm,
tick. Or we had a nice movie with my family or with my children. We enjoyed this. Those
mm,
small things really
mm.
make a very big difference. Now, there's a question here, and I want to welcome each one of us. If you have a question, feel free to drop that in the chat as we continue having a conversation with Lawson. Now, somebody is asking how to manage career stagnation that ultimately causes stress. So the fact
I,
that maybe they have been in this position for a very long time, they're not seeing any way of moving forward. How would you maybe handle that?
I think when we are looking at stress in the workplace,
Mm-hmm.
the issue of job security, job advancement, and all that is very important in the way you manage the stress.
Mm-hmm.
There is obviously when you are feeling that you've stagnated, there are issues that you can do. You first of all need to speak to your people, your supervisors, your managers, and leaders, to be able to say that, look, I've been in this job for the last 3 years, and I'm not seeing any advancement. You get to understand how the plans, what plans they are for your advancement, and then you start looking at that career path which you put down together with your leaders. Also, just being able to understand things like delegation, because sometimes you stay in your job because there is nobody else who the organization can say this person is going to do this job, and therefore you also move to the other level. There are people who in the organization, they don't train those people who work under them or horizontally.
Mm-hmm.
Those people, obviously, for very good reasons, stay in their own place.
Right.
People who are also not good in their interactions with other colleagues. Obviously, they can't go up because they don't know how to interact or socialize with other people. So there are this kind of things that one needs to change in the way they are working on day-to-day basis for
Mm-hmm.
them to unlock their potential.
Good. Thank you. Thank you about that. And I can see more questions coming in. There's John saying, thank you very much for this presentation. We really appreciate. There's another question I've seen from Eric Mutuku. Actually, I'll come to that question. Right now, I want to ask one of the other thing I've seen people get into this stress, anxiety, and even burnout because number one, it might be about the boss having a very toxic boss or
Mhm,
having toxic work environment.
mhm.
So, what advice would you give to someone who either have a toxic boss or a toxic work environment? How do they manage that?
I think one of the things that would be a bit unfortunate in dealing with is having a toxic boss, because you can't avoid the boss. You can't say, for example, block him from calls and WhatsApp.
Mm-hmm.
So that introduces a level of stress. But one of the things that you need to do is to not take it personally, because if you take it personally, then
Mm-hmm.
every time you meet with him, even your face will show that this is a person that I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
You not be able to smile to somebody who you have branded as somebody who is stepping on your toes. So don't take it personally. Then you need to understand that it is not about what you are. It may be that the person is having also anxiety or stress. So,
Mm-hmm.
so what we call compassion, you must try to practice compassion to your boss. Then you also need to practice forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Forgiveness is like you can write a letter, which obviously you are not going to post, and say,
Mm-hmm.
"Boss, I'm very disappointed with the way you deal with me, and this is how I would like you to change," and all these kind of things. What we call manifestation, manifesting a boss that is dealing with you properly, because the universe has got a way of giving you what you are asking for. Uh,
Yeah.
So those are the some of the things that you can do to ensure that you don't cross swords with your bosses every other time.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. Compassion plays a very big role. Yeah, if you are
Mm,
able to be compassionate to yourself first, and then you can
mm.
be able to extend it to your boss. Eric Mutuku asks, how do you manage stress of the career you are pursuing, since it stresses me, yet I haven't completed my studies? I'm stressed on how after studies it will be. Okay, I'm not sure what exactly it is. Maybe he's still in school pursuing his career, or maybe
Mm,
he's still at work trying to balance work and finishing studies. But
mm.
what do you get? And maybe some advice for Eric Mutuku here.
I think Eric may be, for example, when we look at accounting,
Hmm.
you are already an accountant somewhere in a workplace,
Hmm.
but you're also going to a place like Strathmore to qualify as an accountant,
Hmm.
and therefore you've got the stress of the work itself, and
Hmm.
in the evening or on Saturdays you will be required to be in class, or even if it is distant learning, you are supposed to combine those. So uh, now Eric may be having issues of this work seems to be a lot,
Hmm.
and at the same time, even reading is also a bit of a challenge, and therefore maybe wondering, even if I did qualify
Hmm.
with a job that is still very stressing, where do I go uh, in terms of how do I manage stress now and in the future?
Yeah, just to bring in context, I think he has commented and said he's still in school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if he's in school, then he's a good candidate for you in
Hmm.
terms of career choice, a choice of career that makes his heart sing.
Hmm.
Um, there are people who will become fighter pilots, but
Hmm.
there's another one who will see fighter that speed is not what I would like.
Yeah.
So one chooses the career that makes their heart sing.
Correct, correct. Now, as we wrap it up, I want to say thank you very much. So many people putting in their comments and saying they love this. I have one last thing. Yeah, maybe it's more. You have shared with me your story, how you have moved from one place to another, and one of the other thing I normally try to teach or also help people is to get good paying jobs, maybe with NGOs, international organizations. But
Mm,
the flip side of that is the more maybe you're paid, of course,
mm,
more is expected from you.
mm,
And that also brings in a bit of more is demanded, a bit of stress, a bit of course, you can call it hard work and all that. Maybe you can share a bit about maybe your story, how you ended up working in this different organization, and then you realize, oh, maybe I'm also falling into the same trap of this stress, anxiety, and burnout.
mm. So I can start with the fact that in my previous life, I was an accountant and I was a banker. I worked with KPMG East Africa. Then I moved to a bank in Nairobi, and
Hmm.
then I moved to another bank in Kigali, Rwanda. And in all those, first of all, qualification as an accountant to me was very stressful because I did the exam in 4 sittings. And because I didn't have the right experience of work, even doing those higher exams like Section 5 and 6 was still a bit of a problem because you require a bit of experience.
Hmm.
So it was very hard work where I sleep almost for 3 hours and wake up and go back, read, and then go to work and all that. having to do both sections within one sitting, 6 months, was very stressful and very with a lot of anxiety. Now,
Okay.
in terms of going to join the KPMG again, at that point in time, I had not passed through the university, so I was having this what you call imposter syndrome, where you want to feel that you don't know, you feel that you don't know as much as you actually know, and
Mm-hmm.
that becomes also a challenge in the way you relate to people. When I went again to the bank, it was still the same thing. I want to get more qualification because I think I don't know enough. And this follows you. You get the degree, you get the qualification. You're still thinking that you want to get more, and it produces a lot of stress, anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
because even at those leadership level, you are still thinking in the same way as that young man who did not go to the university, and therefore is linking with other people who have got PhD, and you get a master's. The higher you go, the more you think you should be knowing. You are
Mm-hmm.
thinking just because you become a chief executive, you should
Mm-hmm.
be a doctor, you should be having a PhD. Whereas having your MBA or even having your first degree together with the qualification would be enough.
Yeah, thank you. So what I want to do is thank you. I can see so many people putting in a lot of comments. They like the conversation. There's okay. There's someone here, William, saying thank you very much for the knowledge. Benson also very liking the conversation. I can see Doreen. Yeah, you saying you are looking for a job. I'll give you a link where you can send me your CV together with Esther, who's also wants to get a job with NGO. I'll share a link shortly. So, how do people get in touch with you? I know whatever you've shared has been of value. By the way, if you have found value in this session, drop it in the chat. As just appreciate it. Appreciate Mr. Lawson. I will be pulling the comments. So if you have found value in the chat, put it in the chat. How do they get in touch with you? If someone
I,
feels like this is the best, I think you can be able to help me in the kind of situation that I'm in.
I think I will share the LinkedIn and also the email and also my phone number where we can communicate on WhatsApp.
Yes, actually, that is his email address. You can also find him on LinkedIn. So I have want to put across here. This is his LinkedIn profile, yeah, and it's also in the chat. Feel free to get in touch with him. Follow him on LinkedIn, or let me just try to get the email alone. I'll actually put all of this in the chat so that they can be able to get in touch with you. Otherwise, it has been a great session. I really enjoyed. I also have learned a lot as we continue. So there we go. I put in the chat. Get in touch with him on link email. It is lawson.naibo@hotmail.com. Then there's the LinkedIn. I think they have been combined. They shouldn't be combined. So let me put a space. Yeah, there we go. So the link and the email, the LinkedIn are two separate things. Thank you. I can see people say they got value. I really appreciate. And yes, that is what we do here. We try to bring you people who will give you some insights, advice, and help you as you navigate in your career. So today we have Mr. Lawson. I really appreciate that. And any last words you might have to say before we leave?
I think it's just to emphasize that if you want to manage stress, anxiety, and burnout,
Hmm.
one of the things that you should do is sleep for between 7 and 8 hours,
Hmm.
and also be mindful of what you eat, you need to exercise, you need to be mindful. Every time you have this issue of stress, breathe in very deeply
Mm-hmm.
and breathe out. Make sure that the stomach expands, and when you're breathing and when you're breathing out, it contracts with the spine. You will be okay without necessarily having therapy.
Actually, you've said mentioned something I had forgotten. There's the issue of sleep, yes, which is important for you to sleep.
Yeah.
Um, what is your take? There's this argument of quality over quantity. Is it how much time you sleep or how deep you sleep?
It is both, because
Okay.
you are supposed to have a very deep sleep and very
Mm-hmm.
light sleep. And we have what we call a cycle,
Mm-hmm.
whereby when you sleep at 10, between 10 and midnight,
Mm-hmm.
you have that period of deep sleep, and
Mm-hmm.
then you've got an internal clock that is
Mm-hmm.
regulating the quality of sleep. So the deep sleep between 10 and 1, 12, 1 there is
Mm-hmm.
regulated, and the internal clock is like a thermostat that is guiding on what sort of sleep you're getting. So
Mm-hmm.
between now 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock, you
Mm-hmm.
are almost getting into the lighter sleep, where you get into the dreams and all these kind of things. Now, the function of the deep sleep is to empty the toxins within the brain. Is the brain is like I would say an engine. An
Mm-hmm.
engine has a car engine has got an exhaust. So all the smoke is coming out. So between 10 and 1 o'clock is where the blood is taking away all the toxins from the brain as a result of working the whole day. During
Mm-hmm.
the during the period 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock, that period where your body is relaxing, and therefore you'll have in the morning you wake up refreshed and all these kind of things. So if you are just sleeping up to 3 o'clock and not sleeping the other part, you are losing on the quality of relaxation. So you wake up very tired, you wake
Mm-hmm.
up feeling that it's as if I haven't slept. If you also miss the sleep between 10 and 1 o'clock, then you start getting inflammation. That is at the end of the day, when you have these brain inflammations because of those toxin did not go out, then you will have issues to do with dementia, Alzheimer's, even some carcinogens. You find that you've got tumors of the brain, you have headaches and all these kind of things. So it is sleep. The number of hours you sleep is very important. The quantity and
Mm-hmm.
also the quality of the sleep. And you've got the thermostat that is guiding you on the sleep pattern.
Thank you very much. I like that. And maybe one more hack I can share. I had learned because some people have the problem of actually falling asleep. So that is why
Mm,
they end up sleeping late, and
mm,
then they end up again waking up early and they miss all that you have shared. And
mm,
that is exercise. When you
mm,
beat your body for it to be really tired, by
mm,
no by default it will fall asleep, because one way of it refreshing uh,
mm,
is to sleep. So yeah, exercising also plays a big part in helping you manage your sleep. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I really appreciate. I have seen several people saying they liked the session. It was a great session. Thank you very much, Morgan. There's also few people, Lillian coming in, one of my super fans. Thank you. I can see also Eric saying he got a lot of value. God bless you for taking time to share with us. And some people, Edward, I saw you asked, where can I get a job, assist you getting job opportunities. Let me share this very quickly. Now, I have put a link in the chat. So if you go to that link, it is free resources that we are offering to you. That is careerpointsolutions.com/resources. Here you'll get an opportunity for you to submit, like here, your CV for a free review. We will let you know what works for you and what is not working. You can also download this ultimate cover letter guide. We have an event this week talking about how do you get jobs with NGOs and international organizations. So somebody asked about it. So all these free resources are here for you. Make sure you take advantage of that. I put that link in the chat, or just go to our website and go to the tab resources. It has been a great time. I really appreciate, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, we are out.